In constellation work, we often talk about being entangled with our ancestors, meaning that we are kind of acting out patterns that come from an ancestral trauma. And I would say that what the projected future teaches us is that we can actually become entangled with a projected version of the future that we keep trying to act out, but that will not exist. And when that happens, you get to experience a kind of spectacular failure, a spectacular collapse, as I did in 2016. Hi there, it's me, Ita Bay, and I want to talk to you about your three futures. On December 30th, I'm going to facilitate an online workshop that will introduce you to your three futures. The three futures is a structured constellation, which means I'm going to teach you the structure, and each person gets to step into and have this structure represented for them. And so you get to talk to your future and have your future mirrored back to you. I recently worked with my own three futures, and as I'll talk about more in the workshop, there's something about doing this kind of work, especially at the level now that I have learned to work with this, because I've been working with the three futures for years. It helps unearth the belief systems that create your reality. That's what it comes down to, right? Because our thought forms what creates the future, what creates our present. Our thought forms. These are these structures of reality, these fields of information. We need tools to be able to illuminate the fields of information that we are swimming in. And once we see them, to understand how to navigate into a new space, or to how to create a new field of experience through our beliefs and our thought forms. Now, there's a third aspect of the future called the projected future. This future, you've heard about this future because this is the future that says, it's like when your parents say to you, well, that's just the way it is, get used to it, right? Or, you have to be in the real world. That kind of language is the language of the projected future, which means it's a version of the future that's actually the past. And we keep trying to drag aspects of the past into the future. Now, in generations past, that worked pretty well because change happened relatively slowly. So you could often count on yesterday, today, and tomorrow being very similar. I can predict tomorrow because I know what happened yesterday. That's the projected future at work. And so a lot of what we often unconsciously think about as the future is really the projected future. We are living in a time when the projected future is less and less likely to exist, to continue from the past into the future. And I'll give you a very specific example. So I discovered the projected future because of an event that I organized, a constellations event that I organized in 2016. And this event turned out to be such a disaster that for years I tried to make sense of what happened. Now, if you remember 2016, the summer of 2016 and the early fall, so I actually had two events that were similar. And both events, they just didn't cohere. They didn't come together. And what happened was that, as you recall, in the fall of 2016, Trump was elected for the first time. Now, this is not a political commentary. This is really just an observation that when individuals or groups of people are preparing, are imagining, even unconsciously, imagining something to happen that will not happen, then there will be a collapse. There's an entanglement. In constellation work, we often talk about being entangled with our ancestors, meaning that we are kind of acting out patterns that come from an ancestral trauma. And I would say that what the projected future teaches us is that we can actually become entangled with a projected version of the future that we keep trying to act out, but that will not exist. And when that happens, you get to experience a kind of spectacular failure, a spectacular collapse, as I did in 2016. One of the qualities of the projected future is that it's like a bell. You know, you strike a bell, and there's the moment when you actually hit the bell, right? You hit the bell, then the time passes, and you still hear the sound. That is a perfect image, a metaphor for the projected future, because the actual event happens in the past, even as the sound itself continues on and may continue on for a little while, right? How we relate to that sound, it determines a lot about what will happen next. A lot of what we're experiencing today is the residual of events that already happened in the past. They are the fruition, the fruit of past causes. And now we have just the effect. But if we spend all of our time trying to battle, if we imagine that our future is battling with the effects of something that's already happened, then I would argue, again, that is another reason why there's a kind of collapse in coherence. It's a waste of your energy. You really want to learn how to orient yourself so that way you are tapped directly into your own creative energy and learning how to listen to the emergent future that is calling you forward or that's coming your way. So that's what's happening on December 30th. If this calls to you, you can sign up on my website, greenriverfc.com.